Right, here we have our red Protoss player down at the bottom of Crossfire. Couldn't quite cut it last game. Can he this time?
Nuts.
I'm nuts. One of our younger players in the GSL, I believe, this time too.
Yeah,
here
he
we
is.
have
I can check actually.
our blue Terran player up at the top of Crossfire. He is the one, the only. Otherwise known as Fancy, he is. Oh, that was fast. Wow. There's Bomber. Startail Bomber looking for a win here. Big thanks to LG, Intel, and of course G-Skill for sponsoring StarCraft 2, sponsoring the GSL, keeping the flow going for all these great games. And so Bomber, on a map like this would be a pretty good map to see some of the newer TVP that we've been seeing lately, involving a lot of Marines, tanks, things like that. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, this would actually be really cool for a mech play.
Yeah. Now, Bomber is actually the type of Terran player also to use nukes in TVP as well. If you saw the White Raw matches, he did use nukes quite a bit in a game, I believe it was on Test Bug. So we may be just fortunate enough to see that. Probe coming in to do some scouting.
Yep, gonna scout that gas.
That's right.
This time gas after the barracks. Well, I guess that wasn't Bomber that did it before, but it's gonna scout.
Well, it is after the barracks. You're right.
Well, yes. Anyway, the again was the part that was incorrect, I guess. Well, I guess he did it after the barracks. Anyway, point being, normal stuff coming from Bomber. His probe's not gonna get too much info. It's kind of like taunting, playing chicken with that Marine.
A little bit of a hidden barracks. Did Nuts see that?
He
I don't know if
did.
He did. Okay.
Yeah, he
all
did
right.
spot that actually.
Not sure if he was meant to spot that actually. I think what I suspect Bomber is going to go for is a pretty early push with Marauders, concussive shells, maybe a couple Marines. And the reason for that is because a lot of Protoss players do like to fast expand on this map. So if Nuts does do that, Bomber's going to be in a really great place to cause some damage as well with that. So
yeah.
We'll have to see. He is getting concussive shell. He is getting Marauders. I love this push. You push with one SCV, one Marine, two Marauders, and if you micro well, you can do a ton of damage, get them to pull some probes, get yourself ahead in the economy, negate that chrono boost that they may have been using on their probes.
Yeah. Now, Nuts is actually, well, he's chrono boosting out his, he got a Stalker out. It's going to run out and try and see if he can pick off his SCV. But he's chrono boosting out a Sentry next.
Okay.
So he hasn't got any additional gateways though, so he's not too worried about this possible 2 racks push. He's just going to wall off his ramp if he needs to with that Sentry.
It's a good idea. And Nuts putting down, let's see, we do have Marines coming out, Marines and Marauders from Bomber's base. Looks like he is going to put some pressure on.
Yeah.
There's the first push right now.
Yeah,
and not a lot to defend. See, this is why this push works so well, because you hit right when the Protoss only has 1 or 2 units. So it's really a contest of micro.
Field. He needs the force field.
Oh, wow. Great force field. Did that SCV already have some damage done to it? It must have.
I am not sure.
Died so fast. All right.
Does have that second Sentry out. You can force field again. Oh, nice. Actually blocking out the Marines, trapping that Marauder, and running the Sentry away as the Marauder tries to hit it. That was beautiful play by Nuts, actually. That was exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah.
He does not have any more force fields, but Bomber's going home, so...
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Bomber went ahead with that second push. A lot of times if you lose that first SCV, that's a big signal to not push in, because you really need that SCV to get up there, get some vision for your other units to pick off their Sentry maybe and then move in. But Bomber is still in a good position. His opening is very, very stable against a lot of Protoss openings. He can get his expansion up, get his economy going, and from there do quite a few different things. Looks like Nuts wants to put on the pressure, though.
Well, he's got his 3 gateways. He's got enough for an expansion. I think he's going to put it down in a second here. And, yeah, he might pressure. Last game, he pressured a little bit off his 3-gate expansion. Tried to, you know, he poked up the ramp, saw 2 barracks, said, okay, I made you make 2, I'm sorry, bunkers. I made you make 2 bunkers. That's fine with me. And, actually, as a result, had his army out of position when the Banshee came in, but this time no Banshee's coming, so might be able to do some pressure this time.
And you won't be able to get all the minerals back for your bunkers much anymore.
That's right.
Pretty soon. Whenever that patch comes out, of course, I'm sure you guys have all seen it. Only 75% return for the bunkers.
Yeah, now
makes sense.
Sometimes they do change stuff before they patch, and they don't actually implement it, so it's not certain. But here he goes in. He's going to try and run up the ramp with a couple zealots, and again, just spots too much stuff at the top of the ramp and says, "All right, well, I've made my prod.
Yep.
It didn't work. It's fine."
And he can definitely kind of contain Bomber a little bit.
Yeah.
SCV seeing a lot. Did he see the Forge, though? It doesn't really make a huge difference, but he did not see that Forge. So every little bit of information, every scrap you can keep from your opponent is, of course, a huge, huge deal. So right now, Bomber going with a little bit heavier bio, getting his factory, getting his starport, getting a reactor on the factory that he can then switch with the starport, get his medevac production up and running.
Well, this is the same build that we saw Nuts do last time. The Forge is kind of built in to stop Banshees from doing too much, and last time it didn't really work very well, but it's a smart move to get that Forge. He's pretty much in the dark. He doesn't know anything about what's going on in Bomber's base, so for all he knows, it could be the same build as last time with quick Banshees.
Engineering Bay going down for Bomber. Zealot trying to poke in again, getting a little bit toasty as he's hit with a couple of missiles there. And I really like that Nuts is going for armor upgrade. That's something that's sort of becoming kind of a given. If you're going to get fast upgrades against Terran, you get armor first, just because Zealots plus Guardian Shield equals Marines not doing a whole lot of damage. If the Marines are not upgraded, reduces it to 2.
Oh, Zealot dies.
Goodbye, Zealot. We'll see if he comes back as another unit someday.
Whoa, that is 8 Marauders in 2 medevacs, and I don't know if he saw it or something, but Nuts is heading home, and I like that move. It actually might save him because 8 Marauders and 2 medevacs have been dropped out. Never mind, it's not a drop. Wait, get picked back up again.
He could do some damage with this drop.
Man, 8 Marauders, if they drop on your expansion or your main or something, you could pick off a Nexus with 8 Marauders in like a few seconds. And if your army is even at your natural and 8 Marauders drop in your main with Stim, you cannot physically save your Nexus.
Yeah, they do a lot of damage really, really quickly. Twilight Council actually going up for I'm Nuts. And second Forge as well, so he's going to want to get a lot of fast upgrades, but here comes the drop from Startail Bomber.
Scans to see what the situation looks like.
Yeah, we'll see if it does some damage.
I think he thinks something's up. He's actually going to go for the natural.
All right.
And is not going to be able to do as much damage as a result.
Well, if he can micro, he could do some good damage with this. Not able to micro too well with the force fields. 1 Marauder being left behind.
Oh.
Bomber dropping on the high ground, though.
Nice.
And he's going to be able to take out a pylon or 2 as he moves to the mineral line, or not, just deciding to poke that pylon a little bit. Going after the SCVs.
Oh, he needs to be careful about those medevacs. Getting a little bit out of place there, and he's going to pick up and get out. Stalker's trying to pin those medevacs down, and they're going to pin him in the corner.
Yeah.
But virtually no damage taken on that drop. He lost a Marauder, a little bit of health on some other stuff, but killed several probes in the process. 9 probes total have been killed.
Yeah, only 2 Marauders lost in that drop too for Bomber. So okay. Yeah, not a bad drop. Oh, I see something coming up at the Protoss base, and it's not a drop. It is a Dark Shrine. Wow. There it is. So we've got some mid-game DTs coming in for I'm Nuts. And
it's an interesting decision, seeing as how it's so late that Bomber has turrets. He's got 2 orbitals. He's got a turret in his actually he's got a turret at the front, and he's building one in his main supply line. So
what kind of nice thing you can do with those is harass a third, things like that. Kind of keep the Xel'Naga towers really
they're useful for map control. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it really depends.
Look at this.
That's a big drop.
He's joining up with 2 more medevacs with those, and this time the forces are half in the main and half at the front. So the natural expansion is actually hold that thought. He's moving. Nope, he's not moving. So the natural expansion is naked. He's going to drop right in the back here. A lot of forces. He's got a couple force fields he can lay down. Guardian Shield going down. Those force fields doing virtually nothing because behind the minerals, those Zealots cannot get there. And he's just going to pick up and withdraw again, having killed another couple workers, a couple more units.
Yeah, great decision to drop behind the minerals too, because that did force the Zealots to all try to run through that little narrow gap, and that did not work too well. Ghosts on the way right now for Bomber as well.
There's
getting
a DT.
Yep.
And there's no way he's going to be able to get... Well, he actually... There's a custom shell hits him.
No.
There we go.
Goodbye, DT. So he will be able to kind of keep an eye out for third base, like we said. So not a total waste. The DT's not a bad decision in PvP by any stretch of the imagination.
And Bomber thinks that these medevacs are actually bombers and not medevacs because he has loaded up 6 medevacs. He's actually going to drop them in the back here.
Maybe that's why they
to
call
heal
it
up, I think. And
bomb.
then he can reload. Yeah, and he's going to be dropping some bombs on Nuts' main base probably.
Well, you know, he came to drop bombs. So get off your pylon and warp around. All right, never mind.
That's all right.
Let's forget that I said that because Bomber is dropping the main. A little bit of micro, and he could do quite well against the Zealots, but the Zealots do have charge.
And oh no,
Bomber
one medevac gets picked off. 2 medevacs get.
Oh, he's gonna get the third.
Oh,
Whoa.
no. Whoa. Medevac with 14 HP left, full of units.
Wow.
He actually did lose a medevac half full and an empty one. Sorry, you lost the medevac half empty, not half full.
Well, you know, you got to look at the situation and say, is the medevac half empty or is it half full?
Seeing as how he lost it, I think you should probably take a pessimistic look on that situation.
Now for Nuts, the medevac was half full.
That's true.
Yep.
Good point.
It's just like Obi-Wan says, it's all about your point of view.
He said that?
Yeah, in Jedi, remember? No, it was in Jedi, I think. Yeah, it was. After Yoda kicks the bucket, you know?
I don't remember that line.
You don't remember Yoda dying?
No, I remember Yoda dying. Yoda dies?
Oh,
what?
I'm so sorry. Spoiler
alert. Gosh.
No.
Dude, I knew this guy once who told me a story about how he actually went to the the actual premiere, the first day of Star Wars.
Like back in the
Star
70s?
Wars movies back in the 70s.
Really?
And he was waiting in line for the second showing, and people came out of the first showing, and someone yelled to the entire line of people, "Vader's Luke's father!"
Oh.
And he's like, that can't be it. And then he was so pissed when he found out he'd actually spoiled it.
That's so sad. That's like the retro Snape kills Dumbledore.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
All right. So
I like the army composition of Bomber. He's got a couple ghosts mixed in there.
Been
a lot of Marauders and Marines. And that's actually going to do really well against Nuts, who is not playing with any Robo units right now. He has a Robo up. He's building a second one, actually, but I don't see a Robo Bay.
Yep.
Maybe he has one somewhere. Yeah, he does have a Bay coming. So he's going to get Colossi out, but for the moment, he's all Zealots.
Bomber's
and
a little bit ahead in supply, too. About 20 ahead right now. And, of course,
and he's actually, he's moving out. I hope he attacks right now. If he does, this is the perfect time for him. Because if he EMPs those sentries, he wins the game.
Yep. Yeah, he should be able to absolutely crush the force of Nuts if he's able to get some good EMPs on that army. And the Observer's going to spot it, though. So is Nuts going to be ready? Here comes MMA, stimming a couple units up there, just kind of keep an eye on things.
And Nuts wisely is going to fall back.
Yep.
Wait for his Colossi, hopefully. He's building one right now. The second one's going to be starting up pretty soon, I bet.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be out in time, kind of depending on how aggressive Bomber ends up being. He is able to secure this third by moving out with this force as well. Now the upgrades right now for Bomber getting +3 infantry weapons. And is that +2? I can never tell what the Protoss upgrades.
He's at 2-2.
Okay.
And the Protoss is at 3-2, actually. He's got 3 armor, 2 weapons. So the Chrono Boost really helping the Protoss. Oh, here he comes in. He's going to EMP. He EMPs everything. Whoa, a few force fields are still left, though. Colossus having to get out of the battle, getting picked off by the Marauders on the side, and there's just too much bio. Yep. All the Zealots are dead, and Bomber's going to charge in and obliterate the rest of the army. He really should have waited for a couple more Colossi. He's Chrono Boosting out 2 more, but he doesn't have any army to actually stay in front of those Colossi when they come out. He's going to lose his third, and GG coming from Nuts.
That's right, Bomber.
Wow.
It ain't no thing for Starkdale Bomber.
No, it ain't, man.
He just kind of cruised through that one, didn't he? Wow. Looks pretty happy. Nuts, unfortunately, he is out. Nuts has dropped out of Code A this season, but he'll be back. And that is a Banshee.
It's a pretty cool Banshee.
That's right. Looks like it's kind of firing like a harpoon, too. I wouldn't want to get harpooned by a Banshee because then it could just like fly away and you'd be like hanging from it from a harpoon.
That would be an unfortunate set of things happening.
That's right. So, so long to Nuts. It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
Yep. Bomber advances. Going to the up and down matches. I'm pretty excited about that. I feel like Bomber is one of those players that really should be in Code S, but he hasn't really gotten as much of a chance to prove himself yet in the GSL.
Yeah, and we didn't emphasize that enough, but
we'll see.
MMA also, going to up and down matches, also having a very good chance. These are some Code S material guys. And let's not forget, last season, 7 of the 8 Code A advancees made it into Code S.
Yeah.
7 of the 8 of them. So if you're good enough to get to this point in Code A, you've got a real good shot of getting into Code S.
Well, it just really goes to
Maybe
show
not,
you that the skill levels, it's so even now.
Even last season when there was like a lot of good people. All right, we're going to have to take a minute break. We'll talk about that later. Here's your homework assignment. Go to open up a tweet at GomTVNet, at Moletrap, at DoSC. Tell us about your favorite thing that Boxer has done in his career. And we're going to come back and watch him play after the break. We'll see you then.
See ya.